Hello there, Homeschool Nolan here to help you navigate learning in a digital age. It's summertime. The kids are all out of school. But if you're a homeschooler, the learning never stops. And today, I'd like to share about what I found after 2 years of homeschooling, the hardest part for me about homeschooling, and that is staying motivated and to keep moving forward. But before I get into that, I'd first like to review our own homeschooling journey. Like everyone else, we had no choice but to become homeschoolers back in March of 2020 when the pandemic hit. Before that, we had never seriously considered homeschooling. But when the schools closed down, I quickly saw it as an opportunity to spend more time with my child and provide the ideal education for him. But it's not like we didn't have any concerns about homeschooling. Like many parents, I was initially concerned about socialization and my kid not having enough opportunities to meet other kids and make friends. But what I found was that homeschooling can actually provide more opportunities to meet more kids, just in different contexts. My homeschooled son has met lots of new kids through playing on sports teams, going to learning centers, and through homeschool groups. That's not to say, however, that there can be a certain benefit to going to school every day and sitting in a classroom with the same 30 kids for 9 months. Some of us may have fond memories of a best friend we developed from a shared experience in school. But what I'm getting at is that the socialization experience of a homeschooler isn't necessarily better or worse, it's just different. And it's up to each parent to decide which environment might be better for their child. Now, the other concern my wife and I had about homeschooling was about our bandwidth and not having enough expertise or knowledge to teach different subjects. But that problem was easily solved for us through the outsourcing of learning different subjects to private tutors and learning centers. So the hardest part about homeschooling, for us at least, is staying motivated both for the parent and the child. You see, when you homeschool, there's no teacher or principal to hold you accountable. There's no immediate penalty for skipping a class or not turning in a homework assignment. And there have been times when my kid just doesn't want to do an assignment, and sometimes I'm so busy with my day job that I just don't feel motivated to keep trying to motivate him. Because of this, it's certainly crossed our mind at least a few times to simply give up and send him back to public school. But after thinking about it some more, I realize that this hard part about homeschooling can actually be the best lesson you can get from homeschooling. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, as I struggle to find ways to keep both my kid and myself motivated, I realized that the greatest lesson I can teach him is not math or English grammar, but the ability to be self-motivated, even when no one else is actively pushing you. Schools do a great job of training kids to take and complete assignments on time. It trains you to study for exams scheduled for specific dates. What they don't do as well is train you to go the extra mile and go above and beyond and motivate yourself to learn, even if nobody is actively watching or pushing you. And this goes for both the parent and the student. I still remember my first couple years out of college many years ago when I didn't do as well as I could have at my first job. And when I look back, I think it's because I had spent 17 years in the education system where I learned to take assignments and complete them on time. This made me a decent worker, but I didn't necessarily go out of my way to go above and beyond, trying to do great work beyond what my boss had explicitly assigned me to do. So as I thought about it some more, I concluded that if I sent my kid back to public school, we might look back one day and remember that we had tried homeschooling, found it too hard to remain self-motivated, and gave up. Or we can instead take this as an opportunity to keep pushing forward even if nobody else is pushing us. Of course, staying motivated is easier said than done. Every child is different, and each parent knows what's best to motivate their own child. But one way to stay motivated, I think would work for almost everyone, is to stay connected to other homeschooling families and homeschool groups. If you're not already connected, try using social media to find homeschooling groups in your area. You will find that there are many other homeschooling parents out there who share many of the same struggles and challenges that you might be facing. Now, before I conclude, there is one motivational method that I would like to talk about that didn't exist back when I was a kid. And that's what I would call the gamification of learning. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, we all know that kids like games, and they can be just as competitive as adults when it comes to winning. The gamification of learning is all about making learning somewhat like playing a video game where you keep score and post near real-time leaderboards showing who's on top. Naturally, this approach works better in math where you can score answers to problems quickly with numbers. My son learns how to solve math problems at a learning center where they post leaderboards online, and he's always proud to show me whenever he finishes near the top. Seems like it's pretty much the same dopamine hit I used to get when I played video games. I can see how this gamification and the desire to win can help motivate him to do math. But is this necessarily a good thing? What do you do then for subjects that can't easily be gamified, like English grammar? I notice my son isn't nearly as excited about doing his workbooks on English grammar as he is on math. And I think I can understand why. Because I remember back when I was a kid, when I thought learning grammar was kind of boring. It was just learning a bunch of rules about sentences and predicates and nouns and pronouns. And grammar exercises, unlike math, can't as easily be gamified as math problems. So how do you motivate a child to learn subjects that are kind of boring, like grammar? What I've done is I've tried to calmly and rationally explain why having good grammar is essential for success in life. But I don't think it really registered with him all the time, and my wife has told me that sometimes I talk too much like an adult to him rather than to him as a child. Every child is different, and it's up to each parent to figure out the best motivational techniques for their own kid. As for me, I'm just going to keep using old-fashioned persistence and repetition in trying to teach them that oftentimes in life, you have to do what's boring and not fun if you want to succeed in life. As you motivate your own child, I think you will end up discovering new ways to motivate yourself as well. And I hope this video has been helpful if you're someone trying to decide whether homeschooling is right for you or if you should continue on this journey. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.